Just as the black light was about to hit the four of them, suddenly a layer of water shielded them. The shield looked thin and transparent, but the black light couldn't get past their guard. After the black light disappeared, Green stood up on the Undead's head and suddenly sprang towards the direction where the black light was emitted. Although he was still wearing body armor, with a very fast speed, he disappeared in front of everyone in the blink of an eye. Meanwhile, Merrin said to Zhao, "Master, go back." Zhao knew that he must listen to Merrin, so he immediately commanded his Undead to step back. More black light shot at them, but Zhao was able to note where they came from. He directed his Undead army to rush toward where the black light was being emitted. The 8 black midges seemed to be hiding in the woods. Suddenly, a screen projected in front of him, flashing different color dots. The red dots represented them and the Undead that he summoned, the green dots represented the people of the Marquis caravan, and there were a few black dots hidden in the woods. There were 8 black dots, but one of them was next to a red dot. Zhao looked and saw that was the direction where Green went. One of the black dots was also rushing in that direction, leaving the other 6 black dots behind. Zhao commanded his Undead to divide into 7 teams. 6 of the teams will each have 200 Undead, which he sent towards the 6 black dots, while the remaining 157 stayed close by. Meg also made her preparations as she softly whispered a spell that formed a pale shroud of air which surrounded her and Zhao. After all, her mission was to protect Zhao. The 6 black dots figured out Zhao's intentions, so they immediately rushed towards him. In their view, getting rid of Zhao was the only hope of victory. If they were to get surrounded by the Undead, then sooner or later they will be killed. The Immortal Mercenary group has faced danger countless times, like when they faced the Xenia clan. At the time, they were 7th-leveled black midges, but the Xenia clan was still able to kill them, forcing them to turn themselves into Undead. Now their true strength was only at the 6th level. If it weren't for the fact that black magic was really strange, then it would be impossible for them to run rampant in the continent. But this time, they encountered an even more dangerous situation. Not only did the other side have 2 people with strength at the 8th level, they also had an army of Undead. They could say that their chances of winning was very low. That was the reason why they took the initiative to attack Zhao. It wasn't because they thought that they had the ability to kill Zhao, but they wanted to see if they could escape after taking Zhao's life. They had experienced many battles with enemies before, and so they thought that if they ran, it would be likely that Zhao would come after them. So they wanted to try attacking Zhao first, then find a way to escape. But they didn't know that if they had turned around and ran, Zhao wouldn't have come after them because he really didn't want to deal with the hassle. Zhao noticed that the black spots were getting closer. "Grandma Merrin, they're coming." Merrin nodded, although she didn't need Zhao to tell her that. As a powerful 8th-level midge, plus the fact that she was rich in experience with fighting enemies, how could she not know that they were coming? However, Zhao faced a surprise. Although he knew that some of the Immortal Mercenary group were getting closer, he couldn't even see their shadows. The screen projected in front of him clearly showed black dots outside his protection of Undead, but he couldn't see a single person, not even their shadows. It was really strange. Although Zhao was curious as to the reason why, he knew that now was not the time to ask. He had already warned Merrin, plus he knew where the people were, so he wasn't worried. The black dots creeped closer, and now they were inside his protection of Undead, but the Undead didn't notice anything. Seeing this, Zhao then understood that those people must be using some kind of secret stealth magic, so now the Undead couldn't even find them. But Zhao didn't shoot up in fear. He believed in Marin. If she couldn't find them, then she wouldn't be called an 8th level mage. Plus, Zhao's undead still had a trick he could use. His undead were an undead spirit variation. It had a spiritual attack, which was something that mages feared to encounter. Zhao firmly stared at his screen, ready to get involved at any time. Right now he looked mysterious because he was dressed as a black mage, plus he was able to sit there motionless amidst such a battle. Marin had long felt the people getting closer, but she didn't move. She wasn't worried about Zhao's safety because he had Meg by his side. And if Meg failed to protect him, he could always go inside the space. She had nothing to worry about. At this point, Zhao discovered that the black spots have stopped 10 meters away from him. He felt that it was time, so he got up and yelled, "Attack!" To command his undead, he didn't actually need to shout, but he had always wanted to give that command, plus he was encouraging himself. From his outburst, Marin began casting a spell, while Zhao suddenly felt his undead blasting out a strong spiritual force. Marin was surprised, but she then understood what Zhao was doing, so she changed her spell. She was originally going to use a magic attack to wound those guys and then capture them in the space. But now she allowed Alien to do the attacking because she was very clear on what a spiritual attack will do to a mage. Although she didn't know how Zhao found where those people were, she didn't think too much of it as she immediately casted another spell. 6 water dragons appeared at her side, which then rushed straight towards those 6 men. At the time when Marin just formed the water dragons, the 6 men appeared around Zhao in a semicircle less than 10 meters from him. Apparently, they were going to use magic to attack, but then suddenly they were hit with a spiritual attack, injuring them. As soon as they were exposed, the 6 water dragons wrapped around them. Once Zhao opened a hole to the space, Marin immediately threw the 6 men inside. Zhao and Marin felt relieved. The timing of their attack was perfect. Before those people were about to cast their magic, they were suddenly hit with a spiritual attack, allowing Marin to seize the opportunity to trap those people and throw them into the space. The key factor was the screen projection. Even if those people were invisible, they couldn't stay hidden under Zhao's eyes. Along with the spiritual attack, it had doubled their war potential.